Then we begin the recording for the second episode, where I have managed to put the timestamp on screen correctly. Hooray for me! So, welcome back to some Has-Been Hotel. I call these reaction videos. I feel like they don't really qualify, but technically they are. Sure, kind of. Anyway, if you've not been along to one of these before, the way that I usually explain it is that I'm sitting on the couch next to you with my own laptop and my own headphones, and I'm watching the episode. You're sitting there with your laptop and your headphones, and you're watching it. Every once in a while, I'll get excited about some inconsequential detail, and I'll poke you on the shoulder and go, hey, 3, 2, 1, pause. And we both pause at the same time, and then I yap. And then once I'm done yapping, I'll go, okay, I'm ready to keep watching now. So I'll say 3, 2, 1, go, and we'll go at the same time. This is my way of avoiding putting so much footage on the screen that Amazon, nukes my house from orbit with their space laser or fucking whatever. It's convenient for me, it's inconvenient for you, and that's about as much effort as I'm willing to put in for these videos. If you want a slightly more convenient way to see things where you don't have to go through all of that trouble, you can become a member of the channel. You can go over to the Discord and you'll find a link to a more convenient way of seeing things there if you want to. But you don't have to. It's completely fine. I'm just asking you to do a little bit of extra work to make this function for you. So, episode 2 of Has-Been Hotel, which chat seems very excited about. Let's see if it's worth all the fuss. 3, 2, 1, go. Ba-ba-da-ba, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Oh, there he is. Well, she... They'd be justified? Oh, it's the fucking Metatron? Okay, hang on. 3, 2, 1, pause. Oh, that took some restraint on my part. It's the fucking Metatron? Well, okay then. Once again, so is this the first time the name of God has actually been invoked in the show? I think it is the first time that, like, because this is something I was wondering all of season 1, right? If Peter is there, well, the only reason Peter would be there is because Jesus handed him the keys to heaven as foremost among his disciples, right? Like, that's the whole justification for why the fuck we have the Pope now. So the existence of Peter implies the existence of Jesus, and the existence of Jesus necessitates the existence of God, because Jesus needs someone to be the son of, and also the physical manifestation of in the earthly realm as part of the Trinity, or... I mean, that's a whole doctrinal thing that I don't want to get into right now. So you would want there to be a God of some kind somewhere involved in the process of all of this, but God was very absent from season 1. Like, even Charlie's story about, like, creation, of the existence of sin and all that, God was never mentioned or even visually represented. Skyen reigniting the Great Schism in chat. Yeah, like, anyone want to have a Council of Nicaea? But so like all of this Christian imagery, right? So much of Hazbin Hotel is very much about examining the concept of sin and punishment within specifically American evangelical Christianity, and so like a little bit more broadly in like strains of Protestantism and Catholicism and so on. But like there are many different strains and strands and directions of Christianity. There are many different, like, and especially historically, when you look at what Christians historically believed, right? You get into the Gnostics and shit like that. It's like Christianity has, we sort of think of it as this one very specific unified thing, but Christianity has a very diverse history. And Hazbin Hotel has kind of been pulling from mostly the bits that sort of are dominant in American hegemony when it comes to discussing like the concept of cultural Christianity, and not so much drawing from any one specific like scriptural or theological interpretation of scripture, that with any consistency, right? Like, it's not like it's based on the Mormon version of the scriptures. It's not like it's based on like sort of Calvinist doctrine or whatever. So it's sort of been a grab bag that pulled from all over. And certainly in season 1, it almost seemed as though they're sort of doing Christianity without the presence of God, right? And that absence is something that's especially sort of relevant to characters like Sera, right? Like, where it's like, hang on, if you're a seraphim, you should just be able to ask, right? Like, hey, God, what's the redemption? Everyone suffer forever? Is that the deal? Is there a way to be redeemed? You should be able to get that information somehow, but God seems to be curiously silent on the matter. But now we have the fucking Metatron. So the Metatron, and I am not 100% sure about exactly where you would find this in the actual Bible or the Torah, for that matter, where a lot of angel lore seems to originate, as far as I know. But essentially, there's a lot of things in the Old Testament, in the Torah, especially in Judaism, where to see God is to die, right? Like a human being cannot be in the presence of the Lord and survive it, right? And this is something that is known to people and characters in the Bible as like, if God appears and manifests physically before me, I am going to die, right? And so there are these stories about like that's the whole be not afraid thing. Like, when an angel messenger descends from heaven and tells the people, be not afraid, the point of that is, hey, you're about to be in the presence of divinity, but be not afraid. In this instance, you will not be vaporized, right? You will not die from it. That's part of the reassurance that they're offering. Where was I going with this? Right. The Metatron is sometimes conceived of as the angel that acts as the voice of God. Like, this is the medium through which God speaks, because God cannot appear directly to mortals. God cannot manifest directly to a mortal without fucking killing them. So God needs a vessel, a means to communicate. And the Metatron is often constructed as that vehicle, right? Like by which God projects his voice into the mortal realm or makes his will known to people who cannot stand to be in his actual divine presence. And it's, again, I don't know the theological exact veracity of that. Like, don't quote me on this like I'm a Bible scholar. I am not. But Hazbin Hotel pulls from all different kinds of pop cultural ideas, and especially American pop cultural ideas of Christianity. And I do believe that in evangelical Christianity, they do hold with the idea of the Metatron, of like the messenger angels that make known the will of God. Like that, I believe that is a thing that's like present in American pop culture around this, which would be where they're drawing it from. But it's interesting that we have a character who is the voice of God, and yet, despite being the voice of God, they too have to ask questions, right? They don't know. And like, you would expect a God to be omniscient. So why is the voice of God having to ask questions in order to hear a story? One wonders. So the story goes that Sir Pentious, like, sacrificing himself and being redeemed was something they sort of came up with during the production of season 1. That was not really intended, but they just sort of came up with it. It's a decision that seems to have become quite consequential, though. I do like the character animation on him here. Like, I like the way they use his little snake fringe. And then we have all the biblically accurate. So wheels within wheels and wheels beset with eyes and flaming wheels beset with eyes. Again, angel lore, the actual sort of biblical textual references and the Old Testament, the Torah, like angel lore and theology about like the thrones, the virtues, the cherubs, like the different choirs and classes of angels. All of that stuff is beyond my competence. It's a lot there's a lot of it. It's very involved in it relates to a lot of different sects and directions of Judaism and Christianity. But this is drawn from pop culture, right? Like this idea of like the wheel with wings on it and biblically, like the air quotes, biblically accurate angel. That's a pop cultural invention. Like our idea of what a biblically accurate angel is nothing to do with the Bible, generally speaking. So this is all, again, pop culture depictions of ideas in Christianity of what, like, the higher choirs of angels and, like, the bizarreness and the strangeness of it. It's not something that's biblically accurate for real, but it's a very fun thing to base character designs around, right? And they also do the other stuff. They also have, like, the bug and the bird imagery all over, like, the various angels of heaven. I like that halo. That's a cute halo. I also like the representation of, like, everyone's first concern, like, literally, like, oh, hey, you've been genociding people for 10,000 years, and it turns out there's pretty solid evidence that you were turbo wrong to do so, even beyond just the obvious moral of don't do a fucking genocide, which I feel like that one should be self-explanatory. You shouldn't need a reason not to do a genocide, but, you know, since you need one. But the first consideration of everyone here is blame, right? Like, all the other angels want to blame Sera because we had nothing to do with it. It wasn't our fault. And I do like that Emily is a pretty defiant voice of reason here, saying, like, no. We all have responsibility for this. Like, just because you didn't know, like, you lived here. We all bear some responsibility. We need to make this right with them. I do like that a lot about her. Again, Emily is very much the counterpart to Charlie in Heaven, right? In the sense that they are the characters who seem to have the strongest moral clarity. Charlie knows that the extermination is wrong, that people deserve a chance at redemption, that eternal punishment forever cannot be a just way of handling the universe. I like that Emily has the strength of that conviction as well to say, like, no, this was wrong. And we can debate all day and all night about whose fault it is or whatever, but it was wrong and we need to fix it, right? We need to make the world better, not just argue over whose fault it was that it got fucked up. And I like that. And I like that everyone else's priority is to find a way for it not to be their fault, right? And everyone else's priority, like, now it's all of a sudden like, what if they want revenge? I don't know, 10,000 years of genocide. Like, revenge is an ugly thing. I'm not in favor of cycles of revenge and retribution. But 10,000 years of genocide is the sort of thing that it's fairly valid to want vengeance for, I think. Like, I would be hard-pressed to look at someone who's been suffering 10,000 years of genocide and be like, shouldn't you let it go and be the bigger person? Like, no, 10,000 years of genocide! It's like, that's a little unreasonable to ask them to not be upset about that. But that's the first consideration, right? Like, rather than how can we make this right, there's this, like, but what about us? Like, we're making this about us now. And then there's Sera. Beloved, miserable, shit-ass, fuck, asshole Sera. Ooh, I despise you. You are a terrible person, and I hope you are miserable for a long time. And then eventually you see the better, and you try to change, and you become a better person, and you seek redemption, and hopefully you'll deserve it. But also, fuck you! And again, her response there is like, well, this thing that has happened, it doesn't align with how I would like the world to be. I would like reality to not be this. Therefore, it can't have happened, right? Like, I don't want this to have happened, therefore it can't. Like, that denial, right? That desperation to deny. Like, you must have forced your way in. You must have trick, like, it has to be something. And it's all ego protection, right? Because if he was redeemed, if sinners could have been redeemed the whole time, if like people were not just doomed to hell forever, then she has ordered 10,000 years of genocide on completely false premises. And that's a blow to the ego, right? Like, that one's tough to, like, I will give her the grace that's tough to take, right? That's not easy to internalize. I would probably have to take a minute. Like, I'm not saying she needs to get it instantly right away and immediately change her thinking. It's understandable that this would be a difficult thing for a person, but also, you ordered 10,000 years of genocide, so fuck you. Get over it. And then there's Lute, who's like, actually, you know what we should do? We should double down. We should just double down. Like, oh yeah, the thing we were doing that was probably wrong the whole time. You know how we're going to solve this problem? Just kill them. Just kill all of them. Kill every single goddamn... Just keep doing genocide forever until it works, right? Because she's personally upset that her shit-ass toxic loser boyfriend got killed or whatever. Nice arm, by the way. And then there's this boy. Obviously, I've seen his character design already. Abel. Begs the question, like, if we're raising the concept of Abel and the sons of Adam, then these are Charlie's siblings. Half-siblings, I guess. No, because that was not with Lilith. That was with Eve. So not half-siblings, then. But Eve... Wait, was Eve mentioned? Eve was mentioned, right? But wasn't there... Hang on. Again, I should have watched Season 1. I should have rewatched it, because wasn't there a point in the fight with Adam where Lucifer implied that he also fucked Eve? Did Lucifer... Hang on. Was that like a polyamorous situation, or was Lucifer... When did Lu- it, so if Lucifer fucked both of them, what's the order? Because Lilith was first. So did Lucifer fuck Eve first, and then he got with... But then what the fuck happened to Eve? Where the fuck is Eve, by the way? Like, we had the whole Adam... I think I talked about that in Season 1 as well. We had the whole thing with Adam, the first man ever, and he had a first wife, Lilith, who was not willing to be, like, subservient. But then there's Eve, who was made from the rib of Adam, like, who was made as a subservient being to Adam fundamentally because she's made from him in the same way that, like she's, yeah. So where the fuck is she in all of this? Because I was thinking about Abel, like, the reason, if we're gonna bring up Abel and the sons of Adam, then we also gotta bring up Cain, and Cain was theoretically... in some tellings of the myth, he's the first murderer because he slew Abel and was cursed to walk forever on the earth, with the mark of God upon him, that none may harm him, but like that he would be banished forever from walk into the land of Nod, I think it was. And that's often interpreted as like Cain is the first murderer and he's immortal and he walks the earth forever, never finding rest anywhere. So is he on Earth? Or is he in hell? Because if we're bringing up Abel, then we gotta bring up Cain, right? Like, you can't have one... They kind of go together. It's a little bit hard to separate them out. Oh, so many questions. Anyway, Abel. Do you have any idea how many people are fucking horny for little Abel? Jesus Christ. Like, the amount of fan art that boy, people just got thirsty for this chubby little boy. I was very pleased with that, by the way. It's very nice. Like, again, we've talked about this before. The constant preference that Medrano has for skinny bodies does sometimes annoy me. I was very happy to see Abel be a husky boy. I was very pleased with that. And I was very pleased to see fans generally reacting to that with, like, I must have this man. I think it's a little bit healthy for dudes. Like, men, like, women get it worse. Obviously, women get it worse, but men just suffer from so much unspoken body dysmorphia and body dysphoria in the world. Like, it's wild once you start, like, if you spend any amount of time hanging out on web forums for gym people and people trying to do body hacking, and like the number of people who are just casually describing eating disorders as a kind of grind set mentality. Yeah, I never consume more than 200 calories in a day when I'm cutting. Like, Jesus Christ. Not something that Has Been Hotel has to fix, obviously, but it's nice that occasionally like a character can have a bigger body and it can just be like a thing, and there can be some evidence in the world that that's not the reason why you're having trouble getting girls. It does not because you're not muscular and ripped enough, my guy. It's because of your personality. I'm sorry. It's like women want to get with... I can speak from experience. Women do want to get with the husky dudes. My guy, if you have a good personality and you can make her laugh, and if you know what to do with your hands, I'm just saying, like, develop a personality, have an interesting hobby, and you'll get laid 1,000,000 times more than spending 100 hours a week in the gym. I promise you. Anyway, that's a completely separate conversation from all of the other things. He looks like he's the leader of a marching band. Is the other thing about his character design. He's got the little hat. He's got the epaulettes and like the thing, which is an interesting form of character design. Like it's a marching band. He's a band kid, sort of adjacent to cheerleading, but there's also adjacent to militarism. I don't really know what to make of it as a part of his character design. That he's sort of a marching band leader. I guess it's the sort of thing that's associated with sort of stereotypical wholesomeness, in the same way that like St. Peter's, like, the world's most annoying youth pastor affect is, but I don't know. I'm curious about that. Peter, you little piece of shit, honestly. Shut up, Abel. Adam didn't even fucking like... And he's just snickering at that. What a little asshole, honestly. But I like the animation on Abel. Again, we talked about that looseness I was commenting on in episode 1. I'm seeing a lot of that present here as well. Like, take a look at this lean Abel does, right? He leans over there, and that to me looks like a part simple just deformation, and then part frame by frame animation to sort of, like, you can see the change the shape of his wings. And, like, the animator's using his big robe, right? Like, the fact that his body is, for the most part, hidden underneath very deformable clothes. Abel gets to be, like, real bouncy with it. I do like the raccoon dog eyes on him as well. Like, the big, heavy bags, the tired, dark eyes. It sort of implies something about his personality, right? Like, this is a boy who doesn't get a lot of restful sleep, maybe. And I guess with the way that the other characters are treating him, we can take a guess as to why. Now that's cleavage. If your cleavage looked like that, DM me. So Sera has a lot of bird in her character design. I haven't always been a huge fan of it, but we're committing hard to the bird angle here, aren't we? Well, bird, and then... It feels a little chimeric. The interesting thing is she seems like the scrolls, the paper. So, like, she's a bird, and then we have these things, which I guess are supposed to be like feathers or something. They just feel a little aquatic to me, along with the hair sort of almost looking like a jellyfish a little bit. But the other thing is she seems to be made of paper, which makes sense in terms of if she is the word, right? She's the speaker of God, so she's made of words. She's made of paper. Also, man, when is it my turn to be happy like this? Pentious, you lucky bastard. I do like the relaxation, right? Like, she comes close, and you see that rising tension. Again, I really like the way they use his head fringe. The rising tension in Pentious, almost like a Studio Ghibli character, you know? Like the way in Ghibli movies, when characters have like a rise of emotion, their hair sort of stands up. They're doing the same thing with Pentious's little fringe here. And then as she touches him, he gets erect. Like the fringe gets erect. Like, that's what it's called. That's literally the words for what it's called. But then, like, as sort of the gentleness of her begins to take hold, you see that relaxation, and it's fully communicated just through, like, the collapse and the relaxation of the fringe. I like that. That's effective character animation. Steady, Pentious. Think of Cherry Bomb. Steady, Pentious. Think of Cherry Bomb. Yeah, scrolls. And then feathers and paper and... Yeah, I don't know about this character design. I would want to see more context around her. Because there's a part of me that feels like she's somewhat over-designed in some ways. Like, I feel like the design is maybe a little unfocused in some ways. like there's a little bit too much detail going on in some places. I don't know. Her design doesn't feel quite as readable as other designs in the show, but it comes down to context. Like if they can reinforce her core design concepts through context, it can probably work. But right at the moment, I'm not 100% sold on the design. Again, that wave motion for the wings. I think that's a very good way, because like wing beats are difficult. If you're animating wings properly, right? Like if you're animating wings that are actually flapping for the purpose of keeping something airborne, you have to occlude the volume, right? Like the wing has to come down over here, pushing air downwards to keep her up. But obviously she doesn't need wings to fly. She's an angel or whatever. So instead of the wings being actually animated as though they are bird wings that are flying, the problem with doing that is then the wings have to flap in front of the character all the time and occlude the character, right? And like occlude the animation and like mess up the key posing so that it's not as clear. And for a character with a character design that's this complicated, you don't want anything to occlude or mess up the key posing. So with both Emily and the other angels, like the way they're handling the wing beats, that it's more of this like wave motion, I think it's very clever. Like I think that's a very good way to do it. Okay. Let's hear your story, Sir Pentious. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, human Pentious! Oh no, people are feral for him right now. Holy shit. Oh, people are going absolutely insane for that twink right now. Jack the fucking Ripper? Not the point of, again, the prof... Oh my god. It's not murder if it's self-defense, bitch! Where the fuck were you the last 10,000 years, though? Hang on, I have questions. Have they? Oh, you look too much like your dad now. Oh, different horns, though. Bitch! 10,000 years of killing people. They strike back one time? Was it? Yeah. Penny. Aw. Three, two, one. Pause. Okay, I managed to sit through the whole scene. Okay, then. Really not the point. Like, so, okay, there's a couple of things here. You can't give a character a silhouette like that. You can't do that, Metatron. You can't. Do you know what's gonna happen when you make a little twink ass little like that with that shit? Oh my god. You, Jesus Christ. Just like I dare not even speculate. Like, I have been staying away from the has-been fan communities because I didn't want to get spoiled on anything. Just ballpark, chat. How much is there? How much is there already? A lot. Yeah. So. Yeah. 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 Yep. 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 Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah. God. Sad little Victorian inventor twink with deep guilt complex who cries a lot. Yeah. No. Boy. It's. I'd accuse them of ripping off Arcane if Arcane itself wasn't like it's an archetype. Like. And again, like, very effective use of his hair, as it were. Like, we talked about this, like, the way that his fringe most of the time is used to indicate his emotional state. And, like, I think, like, here, also the animators, like, not as actively, but it is being used, like, this is him, like, as he's recalling his human self more, it becomes more and more like hair, right? I do love me a good smoke animation. I should also call out, like, good work on the background for London here. Like, it's an interestingly stylized version, because, like, at the front here, we have the actual buildings, right? Like, the buildings that are actual buildings. And there's, like, a nice diversity of them. They have an architectural consistency that means it all looks like it's the same city. But then, like, when you go several layers deeper, right? When you go deeper into, like, the multi-layered, like, because are they doing, like, a parallax scrolling thing? Yeah, very little bit of parallax scrolling, but behind it, like, behind the actual buildings, the silhouettes of buildings in the backgrounds are all just smokestacks, right? Which is, like, that's not reasonably meaningfully accurate in terms of the perspective that we're getting on London here, but it's evocative of, like, the London that he is in, like, gaslight London in the 1880s. You fucking... They introduce him doing a fucking long hair flip backwards up over his head, enthusiastic eyes, big round, like, Jesus fucking Christ. Did Medrano just have this in her fucking back pocket the whole time? Like, she designs Sir Pentious for Has-Been Hotel Season 1. He's this big, ridiculous snake idiot, like, with the flapping, oh, yes, I'm an inventor, I'm a clown, so very funny. And then you get to she just had this little twink in her back pocket, just, like, sitting on it like a nuke. That she just knew is like, oh, come season, I'm gonna obliterate these motherfuckers from orbit. I'm gonna destroy whole entire sections of the fan community as they abandon all previous ships and ship this little fucker with everyone. It's like, I know the radio apples got thrown a lot of bones with like in episode 1 with Alistair and Lucifer and things like that, but like. Someone's gonna ship this motherfucker with Alistair before long, right? It's like, oh yeah, no, he went to America before he died. Like, oh no. Oh man. He's got the airship, he's got the things. Where's the eggs? There's an egg. Because, like, the egg boys must come from something in his real life. One imagines. I mean, there's an egg. This is where I regret hard coding the subs onto the video, but what is that? Hang on. Engine, maybe? Something like that? Also, the animators are doing, like, whoever's animating human Pentious, look how much fun, like, they're really emphasizing the fucking hair. So, here's a good rule of thumb. Sensuality, and by extension eroticism, is the art of the tangible, right? The more tangible, not realistic, but the more tangible something feels, the more sensuous it becomes, and therefore, the greater its capacity for eroticism, right? Pay attention to the way his hair moves. Right? There's an animator here who's paying a lot of attention to the fall, to the weight, to the flow of his hair over his body, right? This is not, like, a lot of the hairstyles in Has-Been Hotel are fairly static. right? Like if you look at, for example, Sera, if you look at Emily, if you look at even Charlie, a lot of the hairstyles are very static, like a little bit anime hair in the sense of these are like things that are sort of just like stuck together and they sort of move in concert. This hair is animated like fucking water, right? There's a real attention being paid by the animator to the feel, the weight, the fall, and the flow of that long hair. And that is sensuousness, not necessarily sexuality. Like, it's not necessarily sexual for that reason. But I've refused to believe that there wasn't I've refused to believe that part of the directive for whoever animated this boy isn't make this twink as peggable as possible. And the hair flow, that's like where you can almost imagine the sense of that hair, like running your hands through it kind of thing. That's part of it. That's part, like, they know they're doing it on purpose. It's not like they introduce him with that hair flip, and the whole time, like, so much attention is being paid to the flow and the sway of that fucking hair. Like, there's almost more animation in his hair than the entire rest of his fucking body. That's on purpose. And maybe it's just because the animator who was in charge of him really likes animating hair, right? Maybe that's why. That can entirely be why. The result is, though, is that there's sensuality to it, in the sense of it evokes the sensation, the feeling of something, the physicality of something in a way that feels tangible. I am not prepared to believe that's accidental. Really, it's the same thing with the way that he's animated also. Like, again, we talked about this with, like, when Charlie was having her manic moment, right? Her animation was very like very all over the place, very Looney Tunes, very broad, extreme poses, often very snappy, going very quickly from key pose to key pose. That's not how Penny is animated here. He's animated, like, there's slowness, there's like fall and weight, there's a lot of in-betweens, there's a lot of secondary motion, a lot of arcs, a lot of settling, a lot of careful attention being paid to, like, the physicality of his motion. I refuse to believe that that's an accident. I refuse it. Because he doesn't just go over to the window and look out. Right? He gently picks up a screwdriver. He leans over, cranes his neck up. He clutches the screwdriver in front of his chest. All these very slow, very smooth, rather languid motions. They know what they're doing. And he's a virgin on top of it all. It's, a sad little virgin who's scared of sex. It's catnip. It's catnip. They know. Right? And now we are back in reality with Pentious, where he has his snake fringe. But now his snake fringe is being animated much more like his hair, right? Like, there's that visual, and again, that's just good visual coherence. The visual connection between Pentious and his human form is being emphasized by the way they use his hair. Someone's written a fanfic where that's Alastor already, right? Surely. Good object work here, by the way. This is something I talk about sometimes. Like, when you are, like, especially if you're solo animating, especially if you're animating for the web, right? And this is something you can see in, like, the very early, in, like, the pilot of Hello Boss, for example. A lot of animation, and like also just a lot of TV animation, Family Guy, for example. A lot of animation, the staging of a scene, right? Like the interiors, the interiors, like the furniture, the furnishings of a room or an environment, they are often just a stage, right? Like they are often just backdrop, right? They're not really real spaces that are sort of physically interactable to the characters. Often it's just like, and especially like Family Guy is a good example of this, but the same thing is often true of shows like even more well-produced shows like Rick and Morty. Like backgrounds are kind of just stages for characters to take action in. They're not really tangible spaces that affect the character, right? And something I have liked in a bunch of Spindlehorse's output, like there's something Spindlehorse their animators are generally quite good at doing, is doing object work with the environment, right? Like where the environment is not just a stage, it is a space that a character is actively interacting with as part of their acting performance. And this is something actors learn, right? Like actors who act, human physical actors, whether it's on stage or screen, part of the craft that they learn in learning how to be actors is they learn object work. They learn how to interact with the environment in a way that reflects their character, right? They learn to interact with objects. They learn to interact with like furniture, chairs, things like that in ways that inform their character and give them like a sense of like, this is a space, this is a place the character inhabits, this is the place where the character lives, right? They have a physical relationship to the space that they are in, and that makes the character more real. This is true for animation as well. And one thing I quite like about this scene is that a lot of attention is being paid from the actor doing, like the animator who's giving the acting performance here, that Pentious' workshop here is something that he interacts with physically, right? Like he dives into the box, he's touching the drawing on the wall, he's placing a hand on the table, right? It is a space that is physically relevant to him. He rests himself on it, right? Same thing here, like when he's reaching into the box, it's like this very reaching over the edge kind of vibe. And especially when he sees the murder. Because he runs, he slams his hip, that wide hip, into the side of the table, almost knocks the lamp over, and there's object work being done there, right? Like, and the object work here of him panicking, running away, almost knocking the lamp over, the object work here of him steadying the lamp and being fixated on the fire and using that as a way to calm himself and sort of abstract himself from the reality that he's placed in. That's also, like, that object work is used as a physical manifestation of him turning on the gaslight, right? Of him, like, fixating himself away from reality. So the object work is part of the acting performance, right? Like, it's being used as part of telling us how the character is feeling in the moment without just making it clearly visible. And then there's this lovely little crossfade. Literally, as Pentious is talking about how this is his fault, right? Like, he could have stopped it, he could have done something. We literally crossfade the murderer into him, right? Because he is the murderer, right? Like, he is responsible in his mind for the deaths of these women, which, you know, in fairness, yeah, you certainly have a level of culpability for not doing anything about it there, but that's, again, good use of the cinematography to reflect how the character is feeling. And I will say, besides the silhouette doing what it's doing to people right now, it also reflects the silhouette he has as a serpent, right? Like, that broadening into, like, you can see where the Pentious silhouette is being built there, which again creates that concordance. I don't know how many of them they have at Spindlehorse, but they have at least a few animators who are just, like, good at crying, who just love fucking animating characters sobbing. And, like, one of them has been responsible for a bunch of the good Blitz scenes in Hell of a Boss, and they're definitely on the job here. Because it's not just like the streaming tears that almost look like they're made of something other than tears. Jello? That's what I meant. I love doing psychic damage to chat. It's not just the streaming tears. Like, it's the use of tension and release. I'm not making it better. Tension and release. which you can see that building up here in him, right? Like, you can see the quivering of the lips and the shoulders raising, and then there's the release, right? Like, he's building up all that tension as the sorrow is building up, and then I deserved it, and then he releases it, right? Like, and then you get that collapse. So we go from this position of high tension where he's trying to hold it together, and then there's a shattering, like there's that first break, and then the whole structure around him collapses as he says the thing that's in his heart, right? And fucking props to, like, and I will say Pentious is probably one of the easier characters, like large air quotes on easy there, one of the easier characters to sort of animate voluminously, because his head is just an orb. It's just like an orb with a long tail trailing after it. It's about as simple of a volume as you can possibly get. But I still want to give a lot of props to the animator who handled this, because it's not, he doesn't just collapse downwards. You can see the twisting, right? That he shakes his head, that it twists, that he looks one side and the other, he tilts one way forward and the other. It's a very good performance. Like, there's a lot of physicality to it. There really is. And again, it's that thing of, it's something adjacent to what Scott McCloud calls the masking effect. If you've ever read the book Understanding Comics by Scott McCloud, one of the things he talks about is part of the reason why a lot of comic book characters are very flat in their design and very simplified is because, generally speaking, the simpler and flatter a character is in their affect, the easier it is for an audience to identify with them, to project themselves onto it, right? And you can see this in a lot of manga characters, right? Like, that you have these very simple characters in these very richly detailed environments. But you can also see it in a character like Tintin, right? Who is about as emoji-like almost in his character design as a character can be, but he exists in these lushly rendered, beautiful environments that Airshade drew. And that's something that's also true when it comes to emotional valence, right? Comedy characters, like when you want to animate a character in a sense that conveys comedy, that conveys fun, that conveys jokes, that conveys silliness. Like, Charlie was sobbing her eyes out in the last episode. It did not look like this, right? Because it's not supposed to be taken as seriously as Pentious's pain is supposed to be taken here, right? Because we know Pentious isn't dead, right? Like, Charlie is like, she's suffering, she's dealing with a lot of stress and guilt, but it's funny. It's comedic because Pentious isn't dead, and because, you know, it's fine. Like, she's not the one, like, we know that it's not that serious, really, or it is very serious. But this scene, there's no comedy to it. And part of the reason why there's no comedy to it is because it's not rendered simply. It's rendered with a lot of verisimilitude. It's rendered with a lot of volume. It feels much more, again, realistic is maybe the wrong word, but it feels more naturalistic. This feels so much more voluminous. It feels so much more present. There's so much more attention being paid to, like, soft lighting and really building the volume of the character. That adds to the tone. That's part of why this crying scene works and why it's affecting, like, why it feels like, oh shit, that poor guy's really sobbing his fucking heart out, rather than, oh, Charlie, you silly girl, you're crying very badly about a trauma you had. Oh, that's cute, right? It's a very different vibe. It's a very different feeling. And again, tension and release, right? Like, Pentious was building up that tension, then there's a collapse. I deserved it. And then he sort of bites it back. You can see he's like, and he puts the hat on and hides his eyes. And you can see that, like, he's trying to hold on that tension again because he's trying to hold himself together. Again, the interaction here is very good. Look at him pleading. That's very good. So, Sera gets it now, finally. That's nice. It's nice that she has accepted it. Now the question is how well she's going to be able to take responsibility for it. This is the interesting question about redemption also, by the way. It's like, okay, we were talking about this earlier, like in episode 1, right? That in order for the show to commit to its premise, that means you have to show what the work of redemption looks like, right? Like what it means to gain forgiveness or make amends for the damage you've done. I guess Sera is going to have a chance to demonstrate. I wonder what she's going to have to sacrifice for it. I'm curious. Because I'm fine with her getting a redemption arc. It's just, it has to be more than just realizing she was wrong. She has to put something on the line for it. Which hopefully it looks like they're setting it up that she's going to be willing to. Certainly they're setting up, like, the contrast they're setting up here is one between Sera and Lute, right? Which, again, like, I can't say that Lute is entirely wrong to be upset with Sera for all of a sudden flipping the script on this one, because Sera wasn't the one doing all the killings. That's the other part. Like, Lute, I'm curious about if her motivation is just that Adam is dead and she's personally pissed because she's the world's shittiest white girl, which, you know, that's an entirely valid kind of character for her to be. She can just be a piece of shit. The other thing is also, Sera authorized 10,000 years of genocide. Lute carried it out. Like, she was down there actually stabbing people to death, right? So it's difficult for Sera perhaps to acknowledge that she has been wrong the whole time. For Lute, it's like, oh, so I looked all those children in the eye while I was murdering them and that was wrong? That's a harder pill to swallow. And I'm wondering the extent to which she gets to be, like, whether that gets to be part of her motivation. It's like, I committed all of those horrors, and now you're telling me that that was wrong? That I am actually evil, even though, like, the entire propaganda, as I was told I was an angel, I was told I was an avenger, I was told this was right, I was told this was necessary, I believed it, and I internalized it as part of my identity, and now they're telling me that it was wrong? Fuck you, right? How dare you? That means I committed all those atrocities and all those terrible things that I have been justifying to myself for years, and now that I have to feel bad about them? Well, I can't. I'm going to have to kill myself, so I'm not going to do that. Again, that same impulse, right? It can't be true. I don't want it to be true. It would be uncomfortable if it was true. Therefore, it cannot be true. That phantasm that Sera was operating under at the start of the trial scene, like, it can't have happened. It cannot possibly be true. Therefore, I don't accept it, right? Interesting that Sera was able to let go of it that quickly. I don't know what... They seem to be signaling something about that, right? Like, that seems not just... Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if I'm meant to take this as some kind of magical change to her nature or her perspective. Or if it's just meant to be a signaling of her changing her mind. Like, is it just a realization, or is this because there's something about... Is there something about angels whereby if they learn new information, it becomes internalized more easily? I don't know. And because Lute is technically a human, she has more trouble with it? I don't know. There's that argument from Disgust as well, which I think is interesting, an interesting part of Lute's writing, right? That, like, Pentious isn't wrong for any reason except that he's disgusting to her, right? Like, she's not making any argument about, like, whether it was a true story of what happened in his life, whether or not he sacrificed himself for his friends. She's not making an argument about any of that. She's making an argument, he's part of a group that I hate, I am disgusted with them and I despise them. And therefore, right? She doesn't engage with anything Sir Pentious ever says. She just says, well, we have decided that they're evil. And therefore, we can't change that decision. And also the framing that Lute has, right? Like, oh, he somehow found redemption through the death of one. Like, she has this obsession in her mind that Adam's death was murder, right? That, like, well, we went down there and we were murdering all of them for 10,000 years, and that was fine. But then one of them killed one of us, and then that's murder. That's the same thing. That's when they kill one of us when we're trying to kill them. That is also murder because I don't like it, right? Like, there's this. You can. These are the mechanics of dehumanization, right? Like, I am a person, and the people that I care about, my in-group, are people, and the ones we hate are not people, right? Like the rules don't, like, they don't get the benefit of the right to self-defense. They don't get the benefit of the right to self-determination. They're not people. They are things that we act upon, and when they act upon us in a way which we don't approve of, that's when, right, like, then any retribution is justified. Like, doing anything to them is justified because they are things, right? And then there's this. I'm still curious about that because I watched the intro of season 1 a while back again just to double check it. But, like, there's this constant assumption that heaven has, that hell is massing an army and they're gonna do an uprising and they're gonna but they never, like, but it doesn't seem to have ever happened. Right? Like, it's not, there hasn't ever been a hell army marching on the gates of heaven. It's never happened. There's always just been this assumption that, well, it could happen. They might do it, and because they might do it, therefore, we must preempt it by murdering half of hell, right? And it's like, there's no indication in hell either that, like, because all of hell is under the impression that angels are invulnerable, they cannot be killed, and therefore there is no point, right? There's no point trying, and there's no point even doing it, so they all turn on each other with overlords and like all of that shit. And what I'm curious about in terms of the world building again, is Lilith in heaven because she actually did try to raise an army, and heaven was so piss-ass scared of her that they said, hey, listen, you can be on the beach forever if you just put the army away, please, and then we don't have to have a war? Like, is that what happened? Is that why? Is that a compromise of, like, we'll do an extermination of half of them, but we won't kill everyone? Instead of we go to war on everyone? Like, what is the deal? Or did heaven just assume, well, we're forcing them to suffer forever, they might be a little upset about that, and if they're a little upset about that, they might blame us for it, and if they blame us for it, they might come for us, and therefore, because there's the possibility that they might come for us, we should come for them first. Because those are two very different things, right? Like the question of whether or not hell has done an uprising. Have they ever actually tried to do anything? Is important. Like, that's very important to the whole question of, like, where this cycle of violence began, right? Like, and what it means in terms of what the show is saying about dehumanization. What the show is saying about the ways that people are condemned to be sinners. Because part of the concept of Has Been Hotel is this thing of, like, yes, someone can do a bad thing, and nonetheless, like, they can do the worst thing, they can do the most horrible thing you could possibly imagine, and nonetheless, they can still deserve a chance to be better, right? It is not a rational response to transgression to say punish them forever. It's not a rational response to transgression to say kill them. Right? Like that. Like, that's the position that the show is staking out, is that it just is not justified to force someone to suffer forever, basically no matter what they did. Right? Like, there has to be the possibility of redemption, otherwise justice is not meaningful. Right? Like, that's the ideological position the show staked out in season 1. The question of that, like, is going to have a big impact on exactly what the show is saying about the ways that dehumanization are portrayed here. And I'm very curious about that. I'm curious about where they're going to land on this. On the one hand, he looks way too much like his dad, and then on the other hand, the fucking fat little cheeks they give him, and like the differences are just enough. But for a second there, I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, Adam's back. Oh God. But no, it's just the same mask. Who the fuck are the fashion designers in heaven, by the way? Like, what fashion designer in heaven gave the exterminators those fucking masks and went, yeah, those are the heroes. They're the good guys. This is how good guys look, right? That's how you character design a good guy, is you give them sewn together mouths and blank eyes with X's over them and horn. That's the good guys, right? Yeah, probably Adam. Chad is right. It's almost certainly Adam who's like, yeah, that's really cool. And didn't think more about it. Vaggie, Charlie. The digital flickering is interesting. Like, it's very specifically a digital flickering, which, like, is that just an affectation or does that mean something? Because, like, Vox is the king of digital projection. Like, it's probably going to be a theme with the show, right? Like, this digital projection thing, these digital images that are malleable and can be changed and manipulated. So is this just a manifestation of Lute being, like, deranged as a person? Or is it because she has robot eyes or something? I don't know. Like, why is it a digital glitch effect specifically? Is there a reason for that, or is that just a stylistic? And again, argument from disgust, like I talked about. Some slimy fucker, right? She cannot get away from that thing of, like, I have to perceive him as inherently disgusting, right? He cannot be charming. He cannot be fun. He cannot be, like, even, like, where if you have a rational perception of the world, if you're able to more or less objectively see reality, you're able to see, oh, there's a bad person and he's really handsome. He's really fun. He's really, like, charming. He's really well-dressed or whatever. You can see a bastard, an evil person, a monster, and you can recognize that, no, yeah, like, that they're beautiful, they're appealing, they're whatever, and they're a monster at the same time. Lute can't do that. Like, she cannot see Sir Pentious as the, like, disgustingly adorable little cherubim snake man. Like, his character design is ridiculously cute, right? It's ridiculously cute. But she can't see that. She has to see him as disgusting, right? Like, her perception is distorted. And again, that's part of dehumanization. And it's a cartoony version of it here, but you'll hear that rhetoric, right? Like, you'll hear that rhetoric from anyone who ever wants to justify doing violence to a group. They will argue from disgust at some point, right? You hear it right now in trans discourse. Like, arguments from disgust are everything, just as they were everything in the arguments against gay marriage. Like, that's the whole thing of, like, well, if a man can marry a man, then a man can marry a horse, and then they'll fuck that horse, and, like, they'll be, like, those are arguments from disgust, right? Like, those are the idea that the very concept, the very notion of gay marriage is equally disgusting to bestiality, right? Like, these things are disgusting, and therefore, right, they and same thing, like, well, you can't let gay people be in the locker room with children because, and again, that's an argument from disgust, right? Like, it's gross, it's disgusting to have a person who was gay in proximity to children because that's gross, that's disgusting, right? Like, and we just sort of assume that because they are disgusting, therefore evil must follow. These arguments from disgust are everywhere. They are not exclusive to the right wing either. They are pretty universal, and they are pretty much always wrong. Like, arguments from disgust are always weak, and you should always be very, very careful when you hear them, because just because something is disgusting doesn't mean it's harmful. Just because something is disgusting doesn't mean it's evil. those things are not synonymous. There can be overlap. Lots of evil things are disgusting. Like lots of like there's overlap, but they are not the same thing. And when you make that category error, when you make that error of conflating the one with the other totally, or accepting that because this is disgusting, therefore it is harmful, therefore it is evil, you can be manipulated into accepting a lot of things that you probably wouldn't accept if you thought about it more critically. Anyway, that's a thing for a whole different thing. Let's keep watching. 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, Sarah, she seems totally... Oh, hello. No ring on that hand. Can't... I'm not seeing rings on those fingers. What? No, sorry, I didn't say anything. Anyway, 3, 2, 1, pause. A very Garden of Eden, this. Apples. Of course it's apples. Okay, so she hasn't kept the wedding ring. She might have her reasons for that. There might be a reason. Hmm. Hi, honey. So, 428 additional, 600 calls from Lucifer. Jesus Christ. Yeah, so Charlie is trying to get a hold of her mom a lot, but... boy, howdy. I was half expecting it to be 666, but, you know. It's the slit. It's the dress with the slit up the side. I'm only human. I'm only human. Background character design alerts. Assuming these aren't people's personas already. I mean, there's a smorgasbord to choose from if you're not sure about designing one for yourself. Anyway, it kind of looks like Discord is having some sort of sound problem. Hang on. Boop. Boop. Oop. Better? Can you hear me now? Hooray! That's good. Let me just double check that the audio is recording correctly on the actual recordings. Looks like it is. Okay then. Discord is just being shit. Anyway, let's keep going. 3, 2, 1, go. She really is Charlie in heaven. How did he find out he was allergic to koala? Was he transported? Whoa. Oh no. Don't tell him that. We're doing Welcome to Heaven again? Okay. Oh, Emily, you're trying. Of course, Peter's here again. Okay. That's a thing to say. Hell yeah! Hell yeah! Break out of heaven, Pentious! Okay, that's funny. 3, 2, 1, pause. Oh, she's not the one you need forgiveness from, Sera. Oh boy, no, girl. So very much Welcome to Heaven Part 2. I do like it better than Welcome to Heaven, though, because Welcome to Heaven is kind of... It's a nothing song. It's a like beginning of act. Like it's the song that plays after the intermission, right? It's the song that's like, oh yeah, it's there. It's doing a bit of world building, but it's so inconsequential, right? Like it is not important, right? Like it does not matter in any meaningful way. You can skip it and you don't miss out on anything, which is unlike pretty much every other song in the first season. This one does do some actual, like, characterization, right? Especially for poor Emily, who, again, like, very much Charlie in heaven, much like Charlie, she has this moral conviction. She wants so badly to do good and do the right thing, but she is critically limited by her inability to fully see a person as something other than a projection of her idealism, right? In the same way that Charlie struggles to actually see the sinners that come to her hotel, Emily is struggling to see Pentious as anything other than, oh, he's the first redeemed sinner. He's a special thing that I need to whatever, right? So she's not hearing him, right? Like she's just trying to sort of placate and distract him on the assumption that, like, just give him all of the things. Give him puppies and pangolins and cakes and sugar and unicorn water polo, and like just give him all of the things, and then that'll fulfill him, right? Like that'll be enough if we just shower him with gifts and presents and stuff. But none of that addresses his actual emotional need, right? And importantly, none of that is the reason he was redeemed, right? He wasn't redeemed because he wanted any of this. He didn't want to go to heaven. He wasn't trying to go to heaven. He was redeemed because he cared about someone else, right? He was redeemed because he was willing to give his life for someone else, because he was willing to risk oblivion for someone else. That is the most important thing in the entire universe to him, and she doesn't understand that, and she can't help him with it because she doesn't have a spot in her experience that maps onto that. So the only thing she has is kittens, puppies, and pangolins, right? It's very that's all. Oh, just sugar. I didn't even know. Not even cakes, just sugar. It's a little bit the Matrix in that way, right? Like it's a little bit that thing of like all she can do is construct a reality where all needs and all desires are met instantly, but which aren't really calibrated to tend to anyone's emotional needs. Which is a very hollow heaven, frankly. You can see it with Pentious, right? Like, it's so special, you're so special, one of a kind. There's no one else like you. You are completely alone as a person, forever. Like, oh, Charlie. Or rather, Emily, baby, that's not the right thing to say. More and more background character alerts. Again, just an absolute embarrassment of personas, honestly. I do like that Pentious immediately begins gathering materials, right? It's like, okay, this is fucked. I'm not going to stay here. Immediately grabbing materials, getting what he needs to build a machine to get him the fuck out of there. And everyone is hot. And that's another way in which, like, this... that's Angel Dust's sister, right? I think she was there in Welcome to Heaven as well. And I don't know if that's a fan theory or if that's confirmed. But I know that Angel Dust has a sister and she is in heaven, and a lot of people are assuming that I think that character is her. Don't know for sure though. But yeah, that's the place where like this is better than Welcome to Heaven by a lot is that the song itself is sort of only really set dressing, right? Like, it's only the set dressing for communicating the emptiness of heaven, right? In terms of the lyrics, in terms of the singing, is what's being offered, right? What's being offered is just pacification. What's being offered is just gratification, right? You'll have sugar, you'll have, everyone will like you, and they'll say that you're cool, and all puppies, and you can have blowjobs every day, like whatever the fuck you want, like just constant like appeasement and like but what's never being offered, right? At no point ever do they really mention, oh yeah, by the way, you'll like have your emotional needs met, just your material needs, like whatever the fuck it is you want. Also, there is that joke, right? That, yeah, like hell has all the good composers, right? Like hell has all the good artists, because all the good artists go to hell, and in heaven the only movie they have is just the Sound of Music on repeat every day forever, right? For all eternity, right? It's the Sound of Music and like, was it Bach? No, Bach was too much of a bastard. Like, it's the Sound of Music and like one classical composer. That's all they have in heaven, because all of the rest of them are in hell. Every single goddamn one. And that's very much the thing, is like the only thing they have here is just Christmas rom-coms, the most vapid and uninteresting genre of movie in the universe, right? Like, again, just this like flat wish fulfillment that challenges nothing, that obtains nothing, that moves nothing, that just, it's just fluff, right? And Discord is being a piece of shit again. Okay. Any better? Okay, Discord is being a piece of shit. Fantastic. Really no idea why the fuck that happens. Like, the song is focused on displaying the emptiness of heaven, but then the actual song itself, like the action of the song, is Pentious resisting it, right? Like, Pentious immediately is like, oh, okay, I can build an invention to get the fuck out of here, right? And that's why I like it a lot, like, because Welcome to Heaven doesn't move the plot, right? Like, Welcome to Heaven doesn't do anything. Welcome to Heaven is just like, welcome to heaven, everyone's hot, we have things, woohoo. Like it's very, there's very little there except like one little line, like, I'm so pleased to show some outsiders around, you can't stay, that's it, right? Like, whereas this song moves Pentious's characterization forward, and it does something to characterize what heaven is as well, right? Like, that heaven is fundamentally very shallow and quite empty. Mecha anime fucking ass shot this one with like the deep wide angle lens and like the pushing the lever forward. Very fucking Gurren Lagann. Musical the game. Oh no. You big weird lonely snake guy. Like, it's just, oh boy. Bless you, Emily, you're trying, but you're very bad at this. And it's very like, all around me are familiar faces, worn out places, worn out faces, bright and early for their daily races, going nowhere, going. Suicide is funny. Why do they have a confetti gun? Why in heaven? Like, I bet Sir Pentious went to a store to buy a gun, and it's the... Why do they have confetti guns? Why are they shaped like that? Why do they have that? Oh, man. Ah. Anyway. 3, 2, 1, go. Cool motive, still murder. Yeah, you should probably relinquish your power. Because it was convenient and comfortable for you. Okay, 3, 2, 1, pause. I'd like a 30 minutes to a minute more of that. $30 to a minute, rather. That was a short fucking... But the fucking pipes, man. Pipes. God damn. Who the fuck is that? That's a trained fucking singer. Liz Calloway. Don't know who that is, but I will look them up on IMDb. Yes, Hermes, I know, baby boy, but you... What? What? Hi. What? What, my love? What? Excuse me, I just need to... What? What? Do you want to cuddle, or do you... Okay, no? All right. Yeah, hi. Yeah, I know. Oh. Oh my god. What? Can you make up your mind? Can you make up your mind? Oh no. Oh no, no. Oh no. Okay, fine. So, when he's like this, I need to put him down in a little hammock I have on my desk, and then I need to pet him and 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 pet him so much and pet him so much and pet him so much. Oh yes, I know. Oh yes, I know, big man. And then eventually he has enough, and he jumps down, and then I can have like 5 seconds to myself. Okay. No, it was not enough. Can you make up your mind? Ah. The thing is, if he wants attention and I'm not giving it to him, he's gonna nip my elbows. Like he will get up on his hind legs and he will nip my elbows. Yes, I know. Yeah. What? What? Silly boy. I do think that's interesting. Again, there's that question of voice of God. What does that mean exactly, right? Like, what is God within this context? Because, like, pretty much no matter what the answer is, you have to deal with the problem of evil, right? Yeah, yes, hi. What is it? What do you want? He wants to chew on a piece of cardboard on my floor is what he wants. Okay. There's that question that lingers with me is like, what does the voice of God know? Like, voice of God has to ask people questions, and seems to ask people questions quite a lot, right? Which, like, okay, so it's not a direct line to God where it can, yes, hi, baby, where it can just know what God knows and dispense, like, commandments, right? It doesn't give any answers, it just asks questions, right? And so my question is that the nature of God within the world of the Helliverse? Like, it's not, like, there is no ultimate moral authority, there is just the compunction, like, the necessity of constantly questioning, right? Because that is a thing, like that uncertainty and doubt must be met with faith, right? Like, that you are unsure of what is true, you're unsure of what is righteous. You must have faith that it is possible to do the right thing, even if you don't know how, right? That it is possible. Like, that is one conception of faith that I have seen people use, is that, like, as human beings, we do not have access to divinity, and we cannot. And so all you can do is have faith that, like, it is possible to do good, right? It is possible to make the right decision, to make the right choice at some point. And questioning is like a core part of faithfulness. That is a way that some Christians approach this, like, this problem of evil, right? So I should probably lay this out. The problem of evil is essentially the question of, why is there evil in the world if there is a God, right? If God is all-powerful and if God is perfectly good, why is there evil in the world? Is there evil in the world because God allows it, because God has caused there to be evil? Well, then God cannot be perfectly good, because those two things are antitheses, like they're anathema to each other, right? If there's evil in the world because God is incapable of preventing evil, then God is not all-powerful, and if God is not all-powerful, then that's not God then, right? It's it's a very long debate in religious circles about how you square the problem of you have a perfect, all-loving, all-powerful God who created the universe and whose will is the engine that drives all things, but also children get bone cancer at the same time. Also, HIV happens, and genocides, and starvations, and floods, and natural disasters. How the fuck do you reconcile that with the concept of an all-loving, all-knowing, all-powerful God, right? It's a difficult question in theology, and there's many, 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 many different answers to that. Like, fundamentalists say, well, not for you to question, just do whatever we think it says in the Bible forever, and shut the fuck up, right? Like, that's the fundamentalist answer, is just like well, don't read the book, and if you can't figure it out, fuck you, right? But there are, there are different sects and branches of Christianity that have very different answers to this question, like how to deal with the problem of evil, right? Like the Gnostics got into some really interesting ideas of like the demiurge and like the sort of split nature of God, and like some very creative answers that were influenced by all sorts of like Zoroastrianism came in over that. And Has-Been Hotel has to deal with it as well. If there is a God, then where the fuck were you for the last 10,000 years, right? Like, where was this bitch? Like, how are you only showing up now to ask some pertinent questions about whether or not what they are doing is right? Like, where were you? Where was God? Why was, like, this is heaven, this is God's domain. Why did God allow this to happen? And so Has-Been Hotel needs an answer, right? And the answer that they seem to present with this song is that God is absent and distant, and God cannot be reached, right? Like, that's sort of the whole thing of the cinematography here, right? Like, is that you can chase an answer, right? You can go looking for it, but it is elusive. And there isn't a yes or no, right? You're asking the question of like, well, what if hell is dangerous, and like, what should we do about it? And you can't know. You just have to deal with the fact that you can't know, right? You have to figure it out for yourself. And Sera is trying to reach and chase this one answer, like this certainty, but there is no certainty, right? Like, you have to find answers to moral questions have to come from you, right? Like, there is no God here that determines what is right, right? And this is something, like, if you talk to evangelical Christians, right, like, one of the big concerns, one of the big questions that evangelical and fundamentalist Christians have for people who are not Christian or people who are not religious is, well, how do you know what's right? Like, if you don't have God to give you the answer, to tell you what is right and what is wrong, where the fuck do you derive morality from? You don't have any. If you don't have anything that's certain, anything that's set in stone, anything where you can look down into a book and say, it says here this is good, this says here this is bad, so I know it's true because God says so. How can you have morality if not for the certainty of the answer, right? How could you possibly be moral at all if you don't have a God to tell you what is right? Right? And conservative evangelical Christians can have a very, very difficult time even understanding the idea that morality can derive from anything other than dogmatic truth, right? And that's something that, like, leads to some really fucking bad things. It's not something I want to defend, but it is something that, if you want to understand why Christians can be the way that they are, that's part of the answer, is that the moral reality that they have constructed is one in which you cannot have rightness, you cannot have righteousness, you cannot have goodness or moral behavior or ethics. You can't have these things without God. And they don't have the framework to understand how people who don't have God can be moral or righteous, right? And so they are very scared of people who are not religious a lot of the time, which doesn't make it right, but it's like, it's a frame of mind. And this song seems to be dealing with that question, right? Like, it's like, where the fuck is Sera gonna find her moral certainty? She's still scared of hell. She's still terrified that hell will rise up and destroy heaven, right? Especially now that she's given them 10,000 years of a good reason to do so. And Vox seems determined to make that fear into a reality. But the questioning she has is like, but now I'm not certain anymore. I'm not certain that that's right. I'm not certain that this is the correct thing to do. So now what do I do? How do I find another answer? And the answer from the voice of God is basically, get good, scrub. Figure it out. I don't know. Like, you're the one who's alive. You're the one who's there. Skill issue. Get better. Like, think about it, maybe. Use your brain. Think for yourself is basically the answer, right? You can only atone when you speak with your own, right? Like, you have to look inside yourself. You have to find a moral core in yourself, something you believe in, something that you think is right, and then you have to commit to it and have faith in yourself, essentially. Which, like, in fairness, that's basically Charlie, right? Like, Charlie comes up in this environment where extermination is inevitable. Hell is, like, sinners are condemned forever. It is impossible to be redeemed, and there's going to be a genocide every year forever, for all eternity. These things are facts. They cannot be changed under any circumstances ever. And Charlie says, well, I don't like that. I can feel that is wrong, so therefore, even if it is impossible, I am going to try to change it so that it is right, right? That's Charlie, right? Like, that is her, is that, yeah, like, it has to be possible for there to be a better world. Like, the world we live in, the reality we're stuck with cannot be all there is, right? No matter how many people are telling me that it's scientifically impossible for anyone to be redeemed, no matter if angels are immortal and invulnerable, I'm not accepting it. A better world has to be possible, right? And Sera is basically being told, yeah, you should be more like Charlie, actually. Like, you should figure out what you believe should be true, figure out what kind of world you would like to be real, and then, I don't know, fucking figure it out, bitch. Like, figure out how to make it better. You fucked up for 10,000 years. What are you gonna do now, right? And I do like that the song doesn't, like, at no point is she let off the hook, right? Like, the song never goes, oh, that's okay, you just made a mistake, that's, like, there's no point of, it never absolves her. It just says, figure it out. Right? Yeah, like, you fucked up, and now you have questions about tomorrow. Sure seems like something you should think about a lot, and you should give that a lot of consideration, and then you should commit to an answer. But that's your problem, not mine. Which is, again, that question of what the fuck is God in this context, then? Because it seems to me that God is just not there. Like, if that is all the answer that God is willing to give to the problem of evil, then God isn't real. Like, basically, like if you have an all-powerful, like, it's that problem of evil, right? Like, I am very much on the side of the problem of evil disproves the concept of God as an all-powerful, all-benevolent, all-good, like, underlying motive force for the universe. Like, you can't have evil and that at the same time, so something else must be true, right? So if there is anything divine, it is not, like, good on a moral human scale, right? Like, it doesn't have a moral character. It can't, because that's a human invention, and that doesn't apply. If there is something divine, it doesn't conform to morality on a human scale. I don't know if that's what they're getting at here. I need to drink after that. I don't know if that's what they're getting at here, right? That the voice of God is not the voice of anyone or anything. It is simply a being which knows the correct questions to ask. I don't know. But the question of whether Sera can redeem herself is this, right? Like, this is the question. Like, can Sera redeem herself? Can she find some way to make up for what she has done? Is that possible? And it doesn't say yes or no. And so the interesting thing for me to follow is, what does the show say? Right? Like, we've had this character who articulates the ambivalence of, like, well, I'm not going to give you divine redemption. Right? That's not going to happen. You're not going to get a yes or no signal from God that says you are forgiven, 20 Hail Marys, some rosaries, buy an indulgence. There we go. You're forgiven. You're not going to get that. And so now the question is the show going to present Sera as a redeemed character? Or is it going to present her as someone who's seeking redemption? Because I can sympathize with Sera as a seeker of redemption. I would struggle a little bit, at least in season 2, to be like, hey, she's one of the good guys now. It's like, no, I'm willing to grant her the opportunity to do better, right? To find some way to make amends, to try and undo some of the damage that she's done. You get to have you get to have a shot. You can try it. Go for it. Like, show me what you got, lady, because you're not starting from you're not starting from high on the scoreboard. I'll tell you that for free. Like, if you want a chance to make this right, like, you gotta put in some fucking legwork. You gotta do something for that. Like, whenever the next crisis comes around, I better see you on the fucking front lines for the right side this time. Like, not in the sense she doesn't have to die. She doesn't have to suffer. That's not really what I'm looking for. Like, that's not what earns a character redemption for me. It's not about being willing to die or suffer or sacrifice yourself. It's being willing to do the work, right? Like, to show up tomorrow and everyone hates you, but you still show up. And then you show up the day after that and everyone still hates you. And then you show up the day after that and everyone still hates you. And you show up for as long as it fucking takes. Whether or not they still hate you, you still show up and do the right thing. Like, that, for me, that's where the possibility of redemption is, that, like, you show up, you do the right thing, and you don't get a fucking cookie. Right? Like, that's where that is for me. And I'm very curious about how Has-Been Hotel is going to handle her on that. Anyway, the animation, I should probably look at that for a second also. And again, much like with Pentious and the Murderer, I do like that we get this crossfade. Like, explicitly identifying Sera as, like, this is Sera. Sera is co-responsible for this. This is what she did. This is what she enabled, right? Like, the visual language is saying very clearly that and that, these two things are the same, right? Like, she's not apart from it. And I'm pleased with that. And I do like the ominousness of this too, because, like, yeah, that's like those are warm colors, which is, like, normally supposed to be comforting, but, like, that's not that doesn't look like a comfort that's being laid on her shoulders there. That's like, that looks like a threat to me. Like, that's not a comforting hand. That's a hand that's, like, sharp. And, like, fully, that's the fucking dark sign. Like, that is fully a Dark Souls ass transition right there. What? You want out now? Okay. Not want out? No, you don't want out. Okay. He just wanted me to open the door so he could look outside, so he could figure out whether he wanted out again. Oh, no. Now he wants out. Hermes. For fuck's sake. He's standing in the doorway. Oh, nope. Now he's in again. Hi, baby boy. What the fuck? Oh, it's because it's about to be his dinner time. Is that why? That why? That why? Cause you're hungry? It's cause he hungry, probably. I think they should have covered her in more blood, though. Like, especially on her hands, I feel like. I am genuinely quite impressed with the animation on the voice of God. Like, this is not quite on the level of that shot from Vox's song. But this is... What? Oh, he's seen a bug. Yeah, I know, there's an insect. There's a bug on the ceiling and you can't reach it, so you're meowing at it. What are you looking at me for? I can't reach it either. Yeah, I know. Okay. Okay, yeah, sure. Now he's laying down. This is still a well-managed shot in terms of, like, managing the perspective, because they're not doing a 3D camera move here, and you can really see that, right? They are doing static 2D backgrounds, but the way that they're moving them, right? Like, the way that they're managing the pull, the zoom, and, like, the transition in color from, like, this very faded out here with all the light over it to, like, being much more saturated and sort of entering the space to give you the impression of that swoop down. All that's happening in reality is, right, like, they're not really animating Sera turning around, right? They're just kind of digitally moving this flat 2D figure, but it's the way they handle the camera motion with the background that sort of gives you that sense of the swoop. Which, like, I do feel like a little bit, there could have been a little bit more sauce on some of this. Like, if you're gonna do epic flying animation around in a big space, like, that's maybe where I would have put a little bit more of the sauce for some of those shots. But it's the thing of, like, you can't have sauce on every shot, right? Like, that's the thing we talk about with budget and animation, especially in 2D, is you pick the shots, right? Like, you gave Vox the really big, complicated rotation shot, then maybe there isn't animation budget to give one to Sera as well, right? Like, you make those choices about which ones you want to do, which ones are in the budget, which ones are... And the budget is not just money, the budget is time, right? Because it takes time. It doesn't matter. Like, it takes a long-ass fucking time, and sometimes you have to take the shortcut. That's the nature of animation production, is you pick your battles for that. And again, we talked about this. This is one of the things that's very cool about Hell of a Boss, is that they can kind of just always say, yeah, no, we're just going to put in more effort because we have all the Patreon money, because we have all the, like, merchandising money, because we have this strong backing, because we have a captive audience, right? They can kind of just always make the choice. You can't do that when you work for A24 and Amazon in the same way. Like, you don't have that same freedom. So it's not like a thing of, like, oh, the show is bad because of this. Just, I wish they would have had the time and budget to put more sauce on those shots, particularly. Anyway, 3, 2, 1, go. One thing they don't seem to have in heaven is fucking therapists. Well, hello. Alex is having a good time voicing Adam again, huh? Hey, I wonder why. Yeah, you haven't given them one for 10,000 years. Oh my god, he's a failed son? Very good. You could ask Charlie. You could ask Charlie. You could ask Charlie. Oh, he's milking an egg boy? Oh, no. Oh, poor baby. Oh, oh no. There we go. That's better. Yeah. Ooh, that's a really nice unicorn statue. Oh, she's been in here a lot, huh? Yeah, that's good. Again, Lute, you think you're the one who has something to forgive? Oh my god. Okay, so this is where they put the sauce. I see. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Pause. This bitch is so delusional. Brackets positive. Brackets, no, it's bad. But brackets cool. Like, brackets that is good for the story. Because it's really, like, Lute, girl, Adam's the best you could do? That's as high as your aspirations went? Adam? That guy? That sad, useless, incompetent, mediocre piece of shit? That was like, oh, that's the best I can do. That's the best I could possibly hope. Really? Girl, come on, man. What? What? Do you want out now? Or I'd open the door. Are you? Okay, he went out this time. And I will say, Lute, absolutely not the first. Right, like the first sad emo white girl who like got rolled up and invested in the idea of a mediocre white man who's like in her head is a million times better than what he actually is, right? Like that's a kind of person, right? That's an archetype which is known. It's like this is a kind of person you'll run into, often with that exact same haircut, who are so committed to like their relationship with a powerful man, especially with powerful men, that like it completely overrides any sense of self-respect, right? Like any sense of like identity or sense of self outside of I am coupled with this powerful man and I derive all of my meaning and my entire personality from that, right? It's like a lot of a lot of footballers' wives, a lot of Republican wives, a lot of Fox News hosts, like sort of will fall into that particular category. It's a kind of person, right? Like the country club wife is a kind of person, and like Lute is very much like displaying all the signifiers of that category, especially the way she relates to this ghost of Adam in her head. Like this shot of the stab in the back, right? Like that dagger that killed him, that she feels responsible for, right? And then this. That is not non-sexual, right? Like, I think the Adam in Lute's head is much like it's. We haven't seen a lot of characterization of him yet, but the characterization of Adam in Lute's head, right? He validates her. He listens to her. Right? He's gassing her up. Right? He's kind of there for her. In a way that in season 1, certainly Adam was never there for Lute emotionally in that way, right? He was never, like, on her side that way. Like, there's that scene in the final fight, right? Like where Alastor puts up his shield and she's like, "Sir, they've erected some kind of shield." "Oh, you think I can't see that, you dumb..." Like, Adam is abusive to her. He's a shithead to her. He calls her stupid. He calls her a bitch. He calls her a cunt, right? Like, he only really likes her for what he can use her for when she's the one gassing up him, right? When she's the one who's, like, talking up him, pushing up him, right? Like, then he likes her. Because that's the sort of abusive relationship that he has with all women, right? Like with everyone else in the world, is everything else is a thing that exists in service to him. But the Adam in Lute's head is decidedly more flirty with her, and also seems to like her a lot more, right? So like, it's not the mediocre shithead dumbfuck Adam we're seeing here. We're seeing Lute's projection of him, literally projection, right? Of this powerful, supportive, seductive man who wants her to be her best self, who's pushing her forward, right? Like, who's telling her to let loose, babe, like, I'm with you. That seems to be the, like, this is an Adam who doesn't lead the dance, right? He steps back and makes space for her landing, right? Like, even in the animation, like, he's following her, he's, like, mirroring her, copying her, he's on her side. Again, that's just not the Adam that we knew from Season 1. Speaking of which, what happens to a winner when they die? Like, the idea is that sinners, when they are killed by angels, are obliterated forever. Except, when that happened to Pentious, he was killed by an angel, he was exorcised, and so he should have been obliterated forever, except he went to heaven because of his good deeds. So, here's now the question of, when someone from heaven is a piece of shit sinner asshole and gets killed, where do they go? What I'm saying is, I have this thing in my head, I'm half expecting a joke at some point, like a half joke at some point, that Lute is in hell, she's slaughtering people left and right, she bursts into an apartment, and there's Adam fucking some new girl. And he just hasn't given a shit, because hell is actually pretty cool. Right, he's been hanging out in, like, the circle of lust. He's been going to Ozzy's club. He's been taking all of the drugs. Right, he's just been having a great time hanging out, and he's not thought about Lute even once since he died. Right, he has not given a single shit about her, and she bursts in on him fucking some new girl or having an orgy or whatever. And he's just been there the whole time, and he hasn't cared, right? That's in my head. That's a theory I have of where Adam is right now, and that Lute's arc is going to be, at least in part, about, like, confronting the fact that Adam just was never this. He was never this powerful angel who liked her, who was on her side, who wanted her to be better, more powerful, more brutal, who wanted to lift her up. He was never that. He was always a selfish piece of shit, and he never cared about her, and she has to fucking deal with that. I think that would be a fun way to crush Lute in the end, to destroy her. But okay, this is where they put the fucking sauce then. Like, okay, like, Sera doesn't get it, but they give it to Lute instead. That's actually fine by me, because holy fucking shit. I'm gonna have to... Yeah, you know what? Take your timer to 20 minutes and 39 seconds. We're listening to this whole thing again. 3, 2, 1, go. I'm gonna have to download that soundtrack and... Sanctus Dominus. Ignis fire. 3, 2, 1. Pause again. Okay. Fucking pipes on Lute's singer there. I don't know if you can hear him, but he's there again.
What? I can't feed you until I'm done with this, boy. I know. Oh, I know. It's terrible. Terrible. Oh, it's terrible, my love. I know. What? What? Sweet boy. Hi. Have I ever not fed you? Has that ever happened in all of your entire life? Has it ever happened that I have not fed you? No, it hasn't. It has never, ever happened. Yeah, could you... Baby, don't step on the keyboard, please. Do not do that. I know. I know. I know. I know. Yes, I know. I know. I know. Yes, I know.
Oh my god. Fucking pipes on Lute's singer, I will say. Like, genuinely. Like, the hard rock, like, this is, like, much though Lute is delusional and a piece of shit and stupid, like, that song, that's there's gonna be some emo girls screaming that shit after a hard breakup, let me tell you. And they're gonna be right to. Like, that's a song for that purpose. Like, it's a banger. Hi, yes, no. No, no, no. Not on the desk, my love. I'm sorry, but you can't be on the desk because you step on keyboards. Oh, you can purr all you want. You're not getting on the desk. No. 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 Anyway. One hand on the cat, the other on the keyboard. I'm trying to make this work. Like, the use of these really hard shadows here. It's like it's so too much, but it's too much, like, brackets correctly. And then poor Abel, right? Like, poor Abel, who looks so much like his father in some ways, especially with the mask on. Has the same build and body. I wonder about Abel. I wonder what his deal is exactly. Like, is he just a cinnamon roll? Is he just a failed son? Like, justifiably fucked up by having Adam for a dad? I wonder about him.
Yeah, I know. I know. I know. Oh, poor baby.
Here's another bit of real good character animation. Get out, right? Like, the way she's acting with her back, right? That's good subtle animation.
Hi. Yeah, I know. I know, man. I know. Listen, you will have all the food you could possibly need. I just need 10 more minutes. 20 more minutes. I just need 2 more hours. For this 20-minute episode of animated cartoon bait. I just need 2 more hours, 2.5 maybe, and then you'll have food. Okay? Like, in 4 hours or so, you will have your food. All right? It'll only be 5 more hours, babe. It'll only be 5 more hours.
6 at most, I promise. The use of Lute's wings here also, as part of her animation, and as part of her emotional state, is very, very good. Like, much in the way that they use Sir Pentious's hair, right? And his fringe. Like, as part of how he emotes. Yes, I know, honey bunny. They're really making active use of Lute's wings to accentuate, like, her performance and her dancing especially. A lot of work is being done with the wings to sort of, like, to push and, like, fill her emotional state. And I really like the rhythm of her punches to the wall as well. Right, like one leads, like she bounces off the walls, basically, right? Like she's literally bouncing off the walls. As she's sort of talking herself up into this genocidal fervor. And again, that thing about using the wings, right? Stomp, flap, kicking up a storm, right? Like, she says a storm's coming while she's the one who's kicking up the storm, right? Like, the storm's coming because you're making it happen, right? And that's same thing here. Like, in her, like when she's flailing around and shouting at the air, so much work is being done using the wings as part of her posing, as part of, like, the secondary action on her to support her jumps. Right, as a power stance. It's really, really impressive work. Yeah, I'm just appreciating the animation right now. Like, integrating the rhythm of her wings.
Yeah. But pardon me.
They're all hungry. Here's a lovely smear. You see that? Right, we transition from here to Lute falling. So we just kind of go, and then we just zoom out of it, like that. Just a quick transitional. Yeah, no, I don't really know what to comment on any of this, except, like, I feel like the quality sort of speaks for itself a little bit. Like, she is just 100% all, like, anger and rage, all lashing outwards, right? Like, externalizing all her internal pain because she doesn't know what to do with it. The wings are being used for that absolutely beautifully, but it's also just in the acting, right? Like, everything Lute does is acting outwards, right? Everything. She's breaking other people's things. And one thing she's doing also, she's destroying the memory of Adam, right? Like Abel comes in, like, hey, could I have one of my dad's guitars to remember him? Like, he wants to keep his father's memory to a certain extent, right? Remember who Adam actually was. Lute's entire activity through this entire song is destroying the memory of Adam, right? Destroying everything that's left over of him, all of the things that he cared about, because she has this Adam in her head who's the Adam that she wants to remember. That's the one she's clinging onto. And so her whole activity of talking herself up into this genocidal rage is all about completely destroying his office, right? Like his place, his space, his things, his memorabilia, everything that Adam put there, because that's stuff that he cared about. She's destroying it, all of it, right? In this blind, externalized rage, right? And again, we see this thing of Lute for Lute. People in hell are not people, right? There are no people there. There are no human beings. They can't be harmed, right? They are. I think the philosophical term for it is they are ungrievable, right? People in hell are not people. Therefore, they cannot be harmed. Therefore, they cannot be hurt. Therefore, they cannot have rights. Therefore, they cannot have the right to self-defense or to retribution, right? So for Lute, I have killed people for thousands of years, just murdered and slaughtered and murdered and slaughtered. That is not, like, the concept of eye for an eye, which is what she calls on, right? She explicitly cites right? The princess has to pay for what she did that day for what she took away, right? That doesn't apply to her, though, and it doesn't apply to Adam. Like, oh, yeah, we killed thousands of people and children and their families and everyone they cared about, but we've never taken anything away because they're not people, right? They cannot feel pain. No one in hell could ever be hurt or traumatized by what I have done because they're not people, right? I am a person. I feel pain. My pain is the only pain that's real because I'm a person and they're not. Eye for an eye says you owe me a debt, which, like, Lute cannot turn that around and say, hey, how much of a debt do you owe, Lute? How much of a debt do you owe to hell? Shouldn't you maybe consider yourself lucky you got away losing only an arm? All things considered, if you believe in eye for an eye, then you got off cheap, girl. You got off real cheap. You were given a hell of a chance. Like, you were given every opportunity to get away cheap for nothing, basically. Right? Adam died. Sucks to be him, but he only died once, right? Like, he died once. It was reasonably quick. It sucked. You got away with your arm. Wow, they let you off easy. Wow, they showed you a lot of mercy if what you believe is an eye for an eye. But she doesn't believe in an eye for an eye. She doesn't believe in that at all. She believes in an eye for an eye for me, but not for them. They don't get that. They don't have the right to self-defense because they're disgusting, because they are hell beasts, because they are ontologically evil, because they are not people, right? And Lute is stuck in that conception. Only my pain is real. No one else suffers, right? I suffer, no one else does, especially not my victims. And any way that I choose to take out my rage on other people is inherently justified because my pain is real, theirs is not. They can't be hurt. Only I can be hurt. I am the only person who exists. It's solipsism, right? Right? It's this thing of, like, and it's a rhetoric you'll see from genocidal states a lot. Like, if you pay attention to, like, the media of a genocidal state, of a genocidal regime, this is how they will present it, right? Like, this, like, well, they did a bad thing to us, so therefore, not only is it reasonable, it is rational for us to burn their world to the ground, to kill every single last goddamn one of them so they can never do that to us ever again, because our pain is real, their pain is not. We are people, they are not. We are humans, they are things, right? You'll see that rhetoric, right? Like that complete inability, that total lack of capacity to recognize the humanity of the other. It's a very common feature across genocidal states and genocidal regimes and genocidal movements. You saw it in the Rwanda. Like, I was listening to a podcast series about the Rwandan genocide recently. And a lot of that genocide, like, a lot of that was, like, you get these recordings from their radio stations which were taken over by like the genocidal regime, where they talk like this, like where they say, well, like these are not people, these are not human, these are vermin, these are scum, and killing them is just, it's not like killing a person. If you kill a person from this ethnic group, you're not a person, right? You're not a human being. They're not a human being. It's not killing a person. It's not murder. It can't be because they're not human, right? And that's what you get out of Israel now. If you pay attention to the way that the far right in Israel talk, this is how they talk about Palestinians. Like, Arabs have to be destroyed, right? Like they are not human. They are an ontological threat. They are ontologically evil. They cannot be grieved. They are irredeemable. There is no such thing as an innocent, right? Like, that's why the IDF openly and very happily targets children for killing, because an Arab child might grow up into an Arab adult, and an Arab adult might grow up to be a threat to the state of Israel because we keep killing their children. That part is not really recognized, right? It's common rhetoric, right? And here it is expressed in a very personal way. Like, this is not a state screaming out her pain, right? But it's that style of thinking, right? Eye for an eye says you owe me a debt, right? Eye for an eye doesn't say I owe you a goddamn thing. It doesn't matter what I have ever done to you. It doesn't matter, because the rules don't apply there. But if you ever do anything to me, the least little thing, no matter, like, whatever it is, I have the right to absolute retribution forever, right? Because I am real, you are not. So, like, Lute, in that sense, right? Blood demands blood. It's like, okay, how much blood have you spilled, Lute, right? Like, but she cannot have that thought. She cannot have that thought. That thought cannot enter her conception, because her whole entire self-conception, right? Like, everything she understands about herself, her identity, her role, who she is, like, what she's for, everything is based on that fundamental conception that only I am a person, right? Only I and the people that I approve of are people. And, like, so her pain is real, right? Like, in the sense of, like, she fully believes it. It's not something she's putting on. She's not lying when she's, like, grieving and screaming and crying and like, clearly, absolutely killing herself with guilt that Adam died right in front of her. That's true. It's all emotionally completely true, right? And she means it. She's not lying. She's not making up a justification. This is what she actually believes. But her whole entire worldview, her whole emotional center, her whole conception of what morality is, what's right, what's wrong, what is justified, all of it is based on this complete kaleidoscopic delusion, right? This complete divorce from reality, where she simply cannot see reality as it is. And this is a silly cartoon, right? Like, this is a silly, edgy cartoon from the Hell of a Boss creator. But that style of person, that kind of thinking, that style of rhetoric is true. Like, this is a kind of style of thinking that you will encounter. And not just, like, I've been linking it to genocide a lot. It's not just in genocide. Like, there are people for whom their interpersonal relationships, they handle them this way, right? Like, I can transgress in any way, shape, or form as much as I want against my partner or against my friends or against other people in my community. I can do that forever because it's justified, because I have good reasons to do it, right? I have good reasons to do it, and therefore it's justified, and therefore I'm right to do it. But if anyone ever so much as slights me, anyone ever so much as anything looks at me wrong, anyone wrongs me in any way, I am justified in any retribution, like, no matter how extreme, because I had good reasons, therefore I cannot be judged. But you can't have reasons because you are not really a person. You're an object that I act upon, right? It's not just silly fiction. It's exaggerated, it's stylized, it's blown, like, to an extreme proportion, but it's not untrue. And that's the character who got probably the best banger of the season, I suspect. Oh boy. Anyway, let's watch the rest of the episode, or some of it anyway. 3, 2, 1, go. Welcome to heaven. Ha! Yeah, that'll help. Oh, Pentious. Okay, then. Husk, Vaggie, Charlie, Nifty, Angel, Cherry. I guess that's Alastor? I guess that's how Emily sees Alastor. He's a weird horse. Heaven looks different, by the way. Did you notice? In season 1, Heaven was much more Art Deco, primarily gold. Was like the main gold and white was sort of the main colors. Heaven is much more colorful now, much more futuristic sci-fi rather than sort of retro future. Well, more like Jetsons retro futurism rather. It's a very different environment design than it was in season 1. I kind of like it. I think this color palette is a lot more sort of palatable than the very sheer white and gold that it relied on in season 1. Okay, show me these flash frames. Oh, there's an effects animator who had fun with this. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Kamehame! Ha! Some cool ass angel designs. Fucked up birds. Yeah, so Sera is defense mode, right? Like, she's like, I don't know what to do, right? Like, I don't know what positive action to take, so I'm just gonna try and stop everything from happening as much as possible. So, like, whoop, encase everything in a bubble, make everything stop, right? buy time kind of vibe. But again, what she's doing there is mostly just like, again, not solving the problem, rather than taking a stance and saying, I believe in something, right? Like, rather than, okay, what is right, what's wrong? Because she's not there yet, right? Like, she's not there yet, but she hasn't found that. So instead, she's just stalling, right? She's refusing to make an actual decision about what to do. And so instead, the only thing she feels like she can do is sort of freeze things, right? Hell can't attack us if we put up a big barrier, and then there can't be an attack, and then things can't get worse, but they also can't get better, right? Like, not doing anything to actually address the issue, just holding it off. And again, that thing of like, Sera never even thinks to say, hey, what if I talked to people in hell? What if I reached out to someone and said, hey, what if no more bloodshed, actually? What if no more genocides? What if no more bloodshed? What if we tried to help you be redeemed so everyone could get it? Like, that doesn't even enter her mind as an option, as a possibility that maybe you could talk to them, right? Maybe you could reach out to Charlie, who's been very visibly sympathetic to who has been desperate to try and work together, who has a guilt complex about not being able to work together with Heaven. Like, there are all these options that she could have if she wasn't so fucking solipsistic, right? Like, if she wasn't so entirely focused on herself. That's one thing about her, is she's quite selfish, right? And that's one of the things in season 1 is like, she makes these decisions about, well, I made these decisions because I thought it was the right thing to do. But she never consulted anyone. She never asked Emily. She never asked any of the other powers in Heaven. She never asked anyone. She just said, well, I need to do it. Me. I have to do it because of, again, I'm the only person who exists a little bit, right? It's that same. And really, like, Sera, you could talk to literally, and like, fucking, you could reach out to Carmine, and she'd probably be amiable. Like, she'd probably at least be willing to hear you out. But no. She can't do that because she has this martyr complex, right? She has this obsession of, I have to be the one to solve the problem. All the problems are also my fault, but I have to solve them because of me. I'm a protagonist of reality right here. That's me, right? So she's not there yet. Like, she still has not figured out how to change. Right? She has changed her mind. She has accepted new facts, but she has not yet changed her behavior. She's still behaving in that way, that autocratic, well, I'm going to make the decision because I have to make the decisions because me, right? I'm not going to. And again, this is not something like, this is not unique to her. Charlie has kind of the same problem, right? Like, Charlie makes all of these unilateral decisions based on imperfect information, right? Like, so it's not a thing that's exclusive to Sera, and it's something that Charlie also probably is going to have to work on a little bit because, you know, it gets her in trouble, but makes her manipulable by Alastor for one thing. But yeah, Sera isn't quite there yet. poor Pentious. He's just Pentious is just here to cry. He's just here to be a sad, sad little man. Crying and moaning and being so sad because he just wants to see the girl that he loves. They know what they're doing with him. Oh, Lord. Pentious just... how high he's been shooting up in the popularity ratings. My goodness gracious. Okay. And now I guess I have to wait a whole week for more of this. Now I have to stop yapping for a while? That's unfamiliar to me. How do you people do it? How do you people stop yapping? I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like stopping yapping. That's unpleasant. Okay, let's hit up IMDb. Let's see, Liz Cal... Oh, it's Odette! That's why she sounded fucking familiar. She sang for Odette in The Swan Princess. That's why. Fucking knew. Knew I'd heard her somewhere. Let's see, what else? She was in Beauty and the Beast. She's not credited with a role, though. Which is a bit odd. Let's see. Anastasia. Okay. I never really watched Anastasia that much, but okay. Surprisingly, she doesn't have that many credits. She was in High School Musical, though. Let's see. At least not on IMDb, anyway. She sang for Jasmine in the Aladdin sequels. And now she's the speaker of God in Has Been Hotel. Apparently she's credited in 6 episodes of the show, so the speaker's gonna be around. It's fucking Odette. Goddamn. Let's see. Darren, Chris is St. Peter, right? Yeah. And Patina Miller is Sera, I remember. Let's see. Shobha Narayan. Emily. Yeah. Is this me not remembering the names of any of the actors? Huh. Patrick Stump. I'm not seeing Has Been Hotel on his credits list. Oh, no, there it is. He's Abel. Oh, he's the Fallout guy. Fallout boy guy. The Fallout guy boy. Props to Jessica Vosk for that fucking voice performance. I wish I could remember people's names just from reading them, but I have a terrible memory for names, unfortunately. Still, I feel like I still ought to give it a try. If I do it for every episode, surely I'll remember at least 1 or 2 of them. Let's see. I don't know. It seems a little bit like maybe this studio is Italian. Ancinelli, Buonicore, Calzolari, Carbone, Carboni, Colombo, Damiano, Daniele, Desiati, Di Piazza. Cool. Probably there's some French and Spanish names in there as well. Catherine Twinkle Arikaya. That's a cool name. There's a lot of cool names on these lists, to be fair. Sandy Cervantes. Cervantes I've always loved as a name. It sounds so cool. God, there's so many compositors. There need to be, but damn, there's a lot. And that was episode 2. You know what? While we're here, let's just rewatch the whole season 1 of Hazbin Hotel. Why not? Why not? We've got time. I think my cats would kill me. So I'm going to go feed them. In the meantime, thank you all for hanging out with me and watching the first 2 episodes of Hazbin Hotel. Only took me just under 6 hours to get through them. So, you know, I'm sure the rest of the season will go by in a flash once it comes out. No problem whatsoever. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, YouTube, blah, 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 if you want to see uncensored, etc. Membership thing, do whatever. I don't care. I do care. I care a lot. I try to pretend like I'm nonchalant, but I do care a whole bunch. But thanks for watching. Thanks for sitting through all of this. Are you okay? By the like, if you're still here now watching the credits roll like this, are you okay? Did you set this up and then you just decided like using it as a podcast to fall asleep? Wake up! Your house is burning. Just to punish you a little bit for that, brat. Or otherwise, like, I just hope things are okay in your life. I hope you have someone to talk to. Because if you've been sitting through this whole entire thing and listening to me, you probably need someone to talk to, and I'm probably not a good choice for that because I'm a disembodied voice on the internet and not really a person you can talk to. Goodbye.